Hey everybody, welcome back to Forkless Cafe, our weekly live stream where you go for your weekly DLT insights. My name is Andrew. I am Hedera Hashgraph's social media manager, and I am joined by my friend and colleague Sharon, who will be taking care of the live chat for everybody. Sharon, why don't you say hi?
Hey everyone. Hey, have a good one, everyone.
Yeah, we're starting the week off strong. I'm going to quickly share that I'm fighting a cold. I've had a brutal cold over the last few days, so I apologize in advance if I'm coughing during this stream. I'll try to keep it minimized for everybody's pleasure. And I'm going to start sharing the screen here so that we can start things off, and then we'll introduce our guest. So, like always, we got to start things off with some of the boring stuff, unfortunately. We have our disclaimer and our weekly agenda here. Our objective, as always, is to share interesting news in the Hashgraph ecosystem and in the industry. We're going to start things off with our guest intro, move on to our industry insights, Hedera highlights, social sizzlers, and then our personal favorite is the hero of the week, where we get to single out a community member that we've recognized has gone above and beyond to support those around them. And we like to recognize them in this weekly live stream and offer them a small gesture as a thank you on behalf of us. So moving on here, I don't want to delay here. I want to introduce our guest, Jamie Sierra. He is a risk analyst at a bank, and I want to pass it over to you there, Jamie. Why don't you say hello, tell everybody about yourself and how you were introduced to Hedera Hashgraph.
Yeah, sure. I love analysis. I love that. I love the way you pronounce that. But yeah, obviously, you and I have known each other for 2 years, and I remember that I think about a year and a half ago, you actually became an ambassador for Hedera, and you were really enthusiastic about the technology, and you're saying, talking about how it's going to be, it's going to blow blockchain away and everything like that. And, you really got all of us, our group here, our mastermind group, really consumed into the Hedera world. And I, obviously became very engaged with what you're doing. And then of course you definitely joined the Hedera team. And we had an opportunity, I obviously had an opportunity to talk about the purpose of Hedera, how it's going to be changing the internet, and also the security around Hedera, because there's been so many, security issues with the internet the last 15 years. From my experience, of course, especially in the banking world, and I left the banking world in the mid 90s and came back into the banking world about 2002. And, and it was great between the time I was gone from banking, because online banking started coming about. It was computer banking at first, where you actually got software installed, and then it became internet banking. But all of a sudden there started to be concerns about the online banking technology, as far as use of credit cards being compromised, debit cards being compromised as well. I've actually had both my debit card and my credit card compromised, and Lord knows I never thought that would happen to me. I always, being in the banking world, I always thought it always happened to the other people, and here it is, it happened to me as well. So obviously, what really excites me about Hedera is, closing all these gaps that we have in the internet, and, in the technology, as well as the security, to really drastically reduce and even come to a point where we can eliminate these certain types of breaches, and make the internet really secure and really safe. So that has become pretty much my curiosity about Hedera. And as far as work, knowing you, and just your enthusiasm for Hedera Hashgraph and the technology.
Well, thank you. And yeah, it's famous last words, right? When you say something like that'll never happen to me.
Exactly.
Famous last words. And where do you come? Where are you coming from where are you coming to us from today?
Yes, I am coming from Boston, Massachusetts, here in the United States. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, it's a holiday for you guys.
Yeah, it's a holiday for us. It's a beautiful day this afternoon in the mid 60s. I love this time of year. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today. I know this is your first time on Forkless Cafe, and it's a true pleasure having you here. So I'm going to start things off going over some of the recent news that was highlighted last week and some of the social sizzlers. This live stream presents us an opportunity to highlight the things that really are big in the buzz cycle, so to speak, or things that are doing really well in social media. And so everyone can find all of those links that I will then attach in the description of this video after the live stream. So just head on down to the description after the live stream, and I'll have all the links there standing by for everybody if they want to take a deeper dive into some of the content they're going to review, because there is a ton of information and we're not going to have time to review it all. So we're going to start things off with the industry insights. Starting things off here with the digital currency group, excuse me, DCG. Again, sorry guys, but that cold. I could spend an entire live stream on this one link alone. So highly recommend anyone that's interested in DLT, distributed ledger technology, or the blockchain space to review this. What they did is they took a poll of over 60 of their portfolio company executives across 2 surveys. First at the beginning of 2019, as the industry was in the pits of crypto winter, and a second halfway through the year after the digital currency prices had recovered. So just scrolling down here, we can just quickly touch on a couple here. 26% of the respondents said compliance and regulation was their greatest challenge in 2018. Mance Harmon, our CEO, has made numerous presentations and interviews stating that this is the #1 challenge in our industry. We have another question here. Clearly, 53%. What is public enemy #1 for digital currencies and blockchain? 53% said regulatory environment. And then the second place here, this one was interesting to me, unclear use cases. So hopefully Hedera Hashgraph is going to be able to help clear that up for a lot of people, because we do highlight in great detail the many different use cases. Jamie just quickly touched on one of them for us. Jamie just quickly pointed out the centralization of our financial data is a risky situation for banks and financial institutions, because now all of that sensitive data is stored in one central location. And Jamie, you said yourself, your credit card and your debit card was compromised.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, am I right to assume that your identity was basically taken and you had a situation of fraud to deal with there? Is that what you were saying?
Yes, I had a situation of fraud, and I actually didn't even know about it until I actually went in. I believe it was, we were booking a vacation to Florida, to Fort Lauderdale, and all of a sudden my card didn't go through. And then, I went, what's going on here? And then I looked at my credit card balance. I couldn't believe it. And all of a sudden I called Chase at the time to clear everything up. Yeah. So it was.
So it's a big problem. It's a big problem. So a lot of these enterprises are seeing great value in DLT technology. Another quick question here. What area of the world do you see the biggest development in blockchain and digital currencies? North America came in at #1, but a close second here was the APAC region. And I'm not going to bother going through, like I said, we could spend an hour on this one article. It's actually a fascinating link that I highly recommend anyone who's interested in this space to check it out. So I'll include all of these links again in the description below this video as soon as we're done in the live stream. Moving on here, computer world. Here's why there won't be a quick enterprise blockchain revolution. So there's an interesting quote here. I don't think we will ever see a revolution in the enterprise, said Iviva Lighton. I don't know if I'm saying that. Vice President of Research at Gartner. No one wants to give up authority. Think about it. It goes against an enterprise's ability to control their own destiny. Full complete blockchain is about no central authority. It's just peer-to-peer. So here you go. You have the vice president at Gartner full on calling out blockchain technology, DLT tech, and saying it's not going to go anywhere. Very, very interesting perspective in this day and age. He's saying here that, quoting that we're at in the trough of disillusionment in the Gartner's hype cycle. So a good article to check out as well. Moving on, got lots of information to cover today. This is an interesting one for a lot of people. So the IRS just issued its first cryptocurrency tax guidance in 5 years. And you can bet that the tax regulatory authorities across the world are paying close attention to what the IRS is doing. So it's interesting that they're focusing their efforts here on forking. And if you are brand new to Hedera Hashgraph, I'll just quickly recap for everybody here that Hedera Hashgraph was quite controversial in the early days when we announced that our platform has a guarantee not to fork. We have technical and legal aspects in place to prevent forking. The idea is that our platform will never fork into a competing platform with a competing cryptocurrency. That can be very important when it comes to tokenization of tangible assets or taxes. Here we go with taxes here. So forks. So if your cryptocurrency went through a hard fork, but you did not receive any new cryptocurrency, whether through an airdrop or distribution of cryptocurrency to multiple taxpayers, distributed ledger addresses, or some other kind of transfer, you don't have a taxable income. But then it moves on to say, one unfortunate consequence of this guidance is that third parties can now create tax reporting obligations for you by simply forking a network whose coins you own, or foisting on you an unwanted airdrop. Full disclosure, I had to Google the word foisting. I had not ever used that word before. And yeah, it means forcing something unwanted, something or someone onto yourself. So this is
the first time I've heard that.
I'm not even going to pretend to know that I knew what that word meant. So this is a very interesting article that I think a lot of people are going to be paying very close attention to, because forking back in the old days when DLT was still brand new, forking was considered to be a tool that the community could use to overcome hurdles and obstacles to create these answers to possible problems. Now, what we've seen though in the last 2 years give or take, is that forking has actually created a lot of instability and chaos in the marketplace. And we've seen all kinds of huge thought leaders in the space voice their concerns about forks over Twitter and different social media platforms. And so here we go. We have another example of why it's so important to have a platform that guarantees no forking. If you are a developer or an enterprise that wishes to have forking as an ability, there's all kinds of DLT technology out there for you to choose. But if you are an enterprise looking to invest possibly millions of dollars into this technology, and you want to have that confidence, knowing that your DApp isn't going to be forked onto a platform and causing you chaos, you'll want to take a hard look at Hedera Hashgraph. So very interesting article. Highly recommend everyone to check this one out. And keeping on this regulatory cadence here, we have the SEC's halts the alleged $1.7 billion unregistered digital token offering. This is the Telegram group, the TON blockchain, Telegram Open Network. The quote here is, "Our emergency action today is intended to prevent Telegram from flooding the US markets with digital tokens that we allege were unlawfully sold," said Stephanie Avakian, co-director of the SEC's Division of Enforcement. "We allege that the defendants have failed to provide investors with information regarding Grams and Telegram's business operations, financial conditions, risk factors, and management that the securities laws require." So here we have another example of why it's so important to work with the regulators. And Hedera Hashgraph has been very vocal since day one that we have been very, on a regular basis, been in communication with these different regulatory bodies. You can't build a 100-year company and not work with the regulatory authorities. And that's what we've said over and over again, that Hedera Hashgraph is going to be a 100-year company. So very, very big news that's been published here in the last week here, everybody. So I hope everybody has time to take a look at these. I'm just going to breeze by this one here, the ties that bind Facebook. So this is an interesting article that points out that their association, their governance model is apparently composed of enterprises, whereas more than half of the enterprises are tied to one another in some shape or form. So Facebook says this cryptocurrency will be managed by an independent group, but an analysis finds that more than half of the members, here we go, have links back to the social media giants, and they have a little spider web here showing you how it's all ties back to Facebook, right? So another article to check out. And then keeping on this subject, this was probably, arguably the biggest news of the last week, where Facebook Libra's cryptocurrency coalition is falling apart as eBay, Visa, MasterCard, and Stripe jump ship. It says the news comes 1 week after PayPal announced its withdrawal as government regulations continue to scrutinize the plans. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is set to testify on the currency at an October 23rd hearing before the House Financial Services Committee. So that's just coming up. So that's going to be something to pay attention to. No surprise. And they do have some quotes here from Visa and from Stripe, basically saying that we don't think it's for us right now, but we support this movement. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this project will stay together. Actually, I should scroll down here. There was a tweet here by David Marcus. David Marcus he's even thanking here Visa and MasterCard for sticking it out until the 11th hour. The pressure has been intense, understatement, and I respect their decision to wait until there's regulatory clarity for Libra to proceed versus the invoked threats by many of their businesses. So lots of controversy around this project. Something to keep an eye on, right? And basically anything Facebook does these days is under high scrutiny because, Jamie, you were just talking about these different security breaches, and I mean, arguably Facebook has seen more than their fair share of security breaches over the recent couple of years, right? So,
absolutely.
Moving on here, I love this article. I'm very proud of this DApp. They're called Power Transition to energize the Hedera Hashgraph. So if you were watching our live stream a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that I gave a presentation at Blockchain Live in London. And I gave a presentation on tokenization of tangible assets. And I touched on power transition and a commercial real estate DApp. And this one's fascinating because power transition, what they're doing is they're building a microgrid management platform system. So what they're doing is, and Jamie, let me just quickly ask you, have you ever looked at your power bill and you wanted to stomp and scream and punch the wall? Like, have you ever seen a power bill? I don't know what the power bills are like in Boston, but like, have you ever looked at a power bill and you wanted to cry?
Yes, absolutely. Especially during the summertime here in Boston, when it's when the air conditioners are constantly blasting. That's for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, there you go. Perfect example. So now, wouldn't it be nice to have a microgrid with your, and I know you're very close with your neighbors, where you were able to coordinate and you all have maybe some little wind turbines and some solar panels, because you might be able to buy, you would be able to buy electricity at a cheaper rate from your neighbor across the street than you would from the main grid. So why not have that capability to free up a little cash flow for you, buy energy at a better rate from your neighbor? And why shouldn't your neighbor create another cash flow? Because in the gig economy, we have people driving for Uber and Lyft. We have people renting out parts of their home on Airbnb. Now you have another way to generate another cash flow and sell electricity power to your local neighborhood, right? But then this use case goes so much bigger than this too, because it actually will now empower. I think Jiro, the CEO founder, was quoted as saying 1 billion people on the planet still don't have electricity. And it's this use case that could potentially change. This is a fundamental shift and can change the game for how you manage power, how you store it, how you can spread it and share it and transact with it. So it's very exciting. Highly recommend anyone to check this out. This is very green use case. For obvious reasons, this use case would never be able to build on a traditional proof of work blockchain because it burns too much electricity. Whereas Hedera Hashgraph, or proof of stake, built on a DAG, a directed acyclic graph architecture, and we use a fraction of electricity compared to proof of work. And if I'm going too fast for anybody, please put a question in the comments, or if you're watching the recording, add a comment, and we'd be happy to link you to more resources to get access to more information here. I am going a little fast, but we don't want to take up too much time today. Okay, moving on.
Great article here. I got a chance to look at this.
You saw this one. Deployment of Hedera Hashgraph puts Bitcoin's future at stake. A bit of a play on words here, because Hedera Hashgraph is a proof of stake model, whereas Bitcoin, as I just mentioned, is proof of work. So great overview article here. Highlights some of the differences. They're highlighting here such amazing speed makes it stand out from the competitors because we can process more than 10,000 transactions per second. Hedera Hashgraph also has ABFT, asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance, which is the gold standard in security in distributed networks. Talks about HBAR, which is the name of our cryptocurrency. So yeah, this is good. This is just really great overview article for anyone who's new to the conversation. Yeah, so I highly recommend checking this one out too. Here we go. Weiss Ratings grades technology high, but sees significant risk. So Weiss Ratings is crypto grades. Crypto grades show a marked disparity between the technology grade and the potential return on investment. So this is a resource that the community can use to follow, and they typically touch on a lot more of price speculation. And as you all know, if you've been following Hedera, we do not engage in price speculation. We want to focus all of our efforts on the technology, the dApps, the governance model, where the real change will happen. And here's a couple tweets that Weiss put out a few weeks ago. Hedera Hashgraph went live with a beta version of their mainnet. Tech behind this platform is not only one of the most advanced in the industry, but also one of the most utilized ledgers in a matter of weeks. Good first steps by the Hedera team. We do have our performance metrics on our website, hedera.com. Highly recommend anybody to go check that out to see our transactions per second, TPS. And we're very happy to see where we're at. I think we're 3.5 weeks after OA, after open access. And we launched with 26 dApps, and we're going nowhere but up from here, basically. They also added our position on various cryptos we rate is never black or white, nor is it static. It is a very fluid industry we work in, right? It changes along the development timeline for each of the projects we monitor. Tweets can hardly suffice for a detailed coin review. So more details, please go to, and they provide a link. This is something I wanted to highlight too, because we also have a similar belief that it's really difficult to convey the amount of value in a single tweet or even a chain of tweets, or Twitter storm, excuse me. But you can find a lot of valuable blogs on hedera.com. Just scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and hit blog. I think it's on the left side of the screen. And you'll find all kinds of wonderful articles that were written by our CEO, by our technical lead or technical architect, Paul Madsen. We are constantly putting out tons of information to make it more accessible to the community. We're all about education. It's all about helping people understand. I know, Jamie, sometimes you have questions for me, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability, but sometimes you stump me too, right? Because I'm still learning too. Everybody's learning in this space. Yeah. And talking about that, I'm going to talk about education here. We're all about education. We have a great Decrypt article here. Stellar, Tron, Hedera, and more join hands in the name of blockchain education. So Mouse Belt, a firm that specializes in support for students and crypto startups, has launched the Blockchain Education Alliance with 13 inaugural members. And we're very proud to be participating in this educational movement here. Got a quote that I'd love to share. Educating students about the potential for blockchain technology to shape a new future will ensure that the industry gets the most passionate people involved. Ashley Meredith, Program Director at Mousebelt. So this is a really exciting announcement for us. Couldn't be more proud because we, as we all know, our children are the future, and it's the students today that are going to be building the future dApps that we're all going to be relying on, right? So that we're no longer worried about our private financial data being exposed to data breaches.
Absolutely.
And that article was actually tweeted out by VentureBeat, VentureBeat is a massive tech publication firm, and so they obviously took notice of this big news as well. It's important to know that that there's a lot of movement in this space. So, And then finally here, I wanted to highlight Paige Krieger. She tweeted out, had the pleasure of speaking at Dallas Baptist University's Tech Symposium. DBU is one of the various universities offering a blockchain class based on IBM blockchain. Speaking with students in the course and listening to Mance Harmon's keynote on Hashgraph was the icing on the cake. Thank you, Paige, for what a lovely tweet. There we go. That's Mance Harmon, our CEO, right there giving his presentation. And it looked like it was a great event. So check out Paige's Twitter account there. And for those of you who aren't already aware, IBM is part of our governing council. So we're building a governing council of up to 39 enterprises. These are blue chip, massive enterprises that are spread out across 18 sectors and spread out globally across the globe, and also spread across time. The council members can only serve up to 2 consecutive 3-year terms, and then they have to vacate that seat and give it up for somebody else. So we believe that this is the most decentralized governance model that exists today, which was very important for us. We've announced the first 10 members, and we're very excited to keep announcing more members as time goes on. As soon as the opportunity presents itself, we'll be making those announcements. So
Excellent.
Right on. And I think I was going to pull it back now. Let's go back to the presentation. Where was I? Here we go. So I think I'm going to move on to our favorite section of Forkless Cafe,
All right.
which is, here we go, our hero of the week.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Congratulations, H-Bar Price. H-Bar Price is a very valuable member of the community. I don't know if you're watching the live stream or you're catching the recording, but please reach out to me or I'll reach out to you, and I'm going to get you a discount to the Hedera store. Well-deserved, just a small gesture for everything you do for the community. I highly recommend everyone to check out hbarprice.com, which is a valuable, extremely valuable resource for the community to check out. They publish all kinds of content, and I'm super proud to have such inspired and motivated and passionate community members. This is where it really makes it a true pleasure to do what I do. And Sharon and I have always said that our community rocks. And H-Bar Price, you're a prime example of why our community rocks so much. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll be reaching out to you here shortly. And wrapping things up, almost done here. We want to remind everyone, or maybe announce for everyone, because it's relatively new, we have a Hedera status Twitter account page. Highly recommend everyone to check it out. As long as you're on Twitter, you'll be able to follow this. We also have a website that you can follow as well to keep up to date with any changes in the network. But this is just another resource that the community can use to keep up with, because those tweets go out instantaneously if there's anything that's going on, and to keep you in the know, so that you don't have to, to go scrambling all over the place to get the answers that you're looking for. As long as you're following Hedera status on Twitter, you'll be able to stay up to date with what's going on with the network. And looks like we've finished on time there, Sharon. How are we looking in the chat?
Chat's looking good. A little bit quiet today. No further
today.
questions there.
Holiday.
Yeah.
It's a holiday. Long
it's
weekend.
a holiday in the U.S. That's right.
Everybody's in holiday mode here.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, I might be sick and it might be a holiday, but we definitely want to be here for the community every week doing these live streams. So if you enjoy these live streams, smash that like button, leave us a question or a comment. Let us know what kind of content you want us to have. Let us know what kind of what guests you want us to bring onto the show, and pick their brains a little bit. I enjoyed having Jamie on. Jamie, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I was very grateful that you agreed to join in on, and I think you said you made a comment on my shirt, so I'm going to have to send you one of these.
I love it.
Next time I see it. Next time, hopefully I'll be back in Boston at some point. But we in a funny kind of way, we like to call this shirt the Iron Man shirt for obvious reasons. But we're not actually calling it the Iron Man shirt. I don't want any trademark problems with Marvel.
Yes.
I don't want it. We don't want any heat issues. But thanks to everybody for joining us. Smash that like button.
Hey, Andrew, next week we're on a Tuesday, huh?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Sharon. Yeah, we are definitely skipping Monday next week. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the next 2 weeks, due to scheduling conflicts, we are going to be on Tuesday. So if you've been enjoying our live streams, look for us next Tuesday and the Tuesday after. And then
Same time?
We'll go back to Monday.
Same time? Just 1 day later. Yeah.
Same time, same place, same YouTube channel. But yeah, if you want more content like this, subscribe to our channel. Super pumped and excited to bring everybody more content like this and hopefully answer some questions. It's a very complicated space. Lots of things are changing all the time, but we want to make it as accessible as we can for you and highlight some of the biggest news in the previous week. But thanks for being here, everybody. Take care and enjoy the rest of your week.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.